Okay, I think we're live. Let me just double check, and then we'll go from there. Let me check. Okay. Can't I can't verify right now, but let's just hope that you're getting this. So I'll just go ahead and begin. So English Unit 4, making inferences and predictions. So just to get started, let's learn with Diksuchi. So Diksuchi is a nonprofit organization that is here to help you grow in your academic journey. And we really want you to make the most out of it as you can, take as much benefit as you can, and make sure you're actually using this productively instead of just coming here just because maybe your teacher says, okay, we need to join this class. Instead of just like listening just because of that, listen with the intent to learn because it will actually help you. The smarter you are, and not the smarter you are, the more knowledge that you're willing to gain, the stronger you will be in your future. So just be willing to gain as much knowledge as you can, and you will have a lot of success later, and you'll be thankful for it. So you should be excited. We're excited to help you through this process, and you should be excited that you get to start this journey. Diksuchi is your learning buddy. We're here to help you grow smarter every day, and you're never alone. We learn together, and we can't wait to explore new ideas with you and ask questions because every question you ask makes you stronger. So this is just a quick synopsis of the flow of today's session. So basically we'll be going over what is an inference, how to make inferences, and then what is a prediction and how to make predictions. And then we'll have some practice for each, and then we'll just close it with that. So these are some tips for your success. Number one, pay attention. Always be attentive in class. As much as you want to think about what's going on here, what's going on there, what's the new movie, whatever it is you're thinking about, always being at the utmost attention as possible when you are at school and when you're learning is very important because even one day missed of learning can make a very, very, very difficult academic year. So you want to make sure you're always paying attention and always attentive. You always want to ask questions when you have them because questions help you grow. If you have a question, that means you don't understand something. And when you don't understand something, the only way to grow from that is to ask the question so that you can actually learn what the answer is. So that next time you encounter something like it, you say, oh, I know this, instead of like, what does this mean again? And then number three, take notes as you go down. If you have a piece of paper and pencil available to you, readily available, then that's great. If you don't, that's fine. Just take mental notes. But basically, just take note of the important things that I say today. And then number four, visualize. Visualization can help a lot. So if I'm telling a story, instead of just hearing it, you want to visualize. Let's say I say, oh, there was 3 little pigs and they were in the forest. Instead of just like listening and being like, okay, there were pigs in the forest, visualize it like, okay, there was a forest, I see the greenery, the trees, and there were these three little pigs inside of there. They must have been so small compared to like the whole forest. Like, these are just ways to help you follow along with what's going on. And also it helps you in other stuff too, not just stories. Like, if you want to visualize predictions and inferences, as we'll discuss later, it can help you a lot. And number 5 is practice. We basically do this every day in our life for anything we do. Everything that you do is practice. So, if I give you a problem and tell you to solve it, that's practice, right? So basically, you're always going to be practicing, because the more practice you get, the better you will be at something. That's like a core tenet in life. If you're ever not doing so well in something, just keep practicing it and you'll get better. And then number 6 is the growth mindset. So don't get frustrated or give up when things get difficult, and always have an optimistic view. So now that all that is done, now it's time to actually learn about this lesson, or learn about this topic. So first and foremost, what is an inference? So the definition of an inference is a smart guess that we make when the author doesn't tell us everything. We use clues from the story plus what we already know to figure things out. So a more literal definition, well, we know that there's this word is infer, is the root of inference. So infer means to, like, based on whatever clues you're given, to make a conclusion just based off of some clues, right? And then an inference is the conclusion you make based off of those clues, right? Infer is the verb and inference is the noun. So an example of an inference is, if you see someone crying, you might guess that they're sad, because them crying is the clue, and then them being sad is your inference, okay? So even if you don't say it, you know it because it's inferred, right? You're guessing based off of, it's an educated guess based off of some clues that you're given. So you use the clue and what you know to make the guess. So those are like the main parts. So how do we make inferences? Number 1, look for clues in the story, what the author tells us. Number 2, think about what you already know. So, connect it with your own experiences. And then number 3, combine the clues with what you know to make a guess. So, you first get your clues in the story, and then you get what you already know, and then you combine them to make your guess. For example, let's say, actually we have an example in the next slide, so we can go over that. But always remember, inferences are not guesses with no reason. It's not like if someone says, this boy was sitting down here. What do you infer is the reason he sat down there? You can't just say, like, there were purple dinosaurs running across the whole swimming pool. Like, that's not an inference, because it's not an educated guess based off of clues in the story and what you already know. That's just something very random. An inference must be an educated guess. So, like, why is the boy sitting down? Well, let's say it's a very hot day that day. That's one clue that we're given. And another clue is that he seems to be sweating. So based off of those clues, we could say, okay, well, I know that if it's hot, we generally get tired. And if someone is sweating, they're probably tired. So then what we do is we can combine what we already know, that, okay, those mean that someone is tired. And the clues is that this person is sweating and it's hot outside. So based off of those, we combine the clues with what you already know, and then we come up with the guess that, okay, they're probably tired. So that's what an inference is. It's like a guess, but it's an educated guess. So here's a quick video from Talentino Teaching, resources for English teachers. This is a YouTube channel on YouTube. So this is their URL if you want to visit their page. And this video is under the YouTube standard license, which gives us access to include the video in this presentation freely for non-commercial purposes. So I'm just going to play the quick video so you can get a better understanding of what inferences are.
We make educated guesses or inferences all the time. For example, in this picture, you could infer or make an educated guess that these two kids are trick-or-treating. You can make this inference because both kids are wearing costumes and they're holding plastic pumpkin buckets for carrying candy. You can also infer that the season is fall because there are leaves on the ground and, well, Halloween takes place on October 31st, which is during the fall. Now it is your turn to make inferences from the following pictures and texts. Good luck.
Okay, so that's the end of that video. Okay, so let's practice making inferences. By now you should understand what inferences are and how we make them. So let's just do a quick practice. So just follow along as best as you can. So this is a story, just some random story I came up with. It's called Sridhar's Backpack. So the text of the story, so basically what the story is about, the plot, is Sridhar walked into the classroom and didn't smile. His backpack was ripped. He sat at his desk and put his head down. When his friend said hello, Sridhar didn't answer. So that's the story. Right off the bat, I see so many clues as to what could have happened and what's going on. I see the actual action is that Sridhar didn't respond when his friend said hello. But what are the clues that could explain why he did that? He walked into the classroom and didn't smile, so that shows that he was sad. That's not a clue, though. But a clue is that his backpack was ripped, that something may have happened. And he walked into the classroom, something could have happened outside. And he put his head down, so something bad happened. So all of these clues basically just say that he was sad and probably someone ripped his backpack or made fun of him or something and tried to beat him up or something, and that's why he's feeling sad. So that those are our clues, and yeah. So let's just hear the guiding questions. How do you think Sridhar is feeling? Well, we know he's sad. What are the clues for us to make that inference? He didn't smile. He didn't answer when his friend said hello. He put his head down, right? So based off all those clues, it's pretty obvious that he was sad. What clues helped us figure that out? I just stated it. He didn't smile. He didn't answer when his friend said hi, and he put his head down. And what might have happened before he came in? Well, we're given the clue that his backpack was ripped. So you know what could have caused someone's backpack to get ripped at school? Usually there's nothing that's really happening crazy, like there's no dinosaurs at school, or there's no one like riding a motorcycle at school, or a tractor at school. So there's nothing that really could have like ripped it other than a human being actually like tearing it themselves. So probably what happened is his backpack, someone just ripped it, or someone like was like trying to harm him, and then they ripped his backpack in the process. So based off of that, we can infer that he was getting bullied, just because his backpack was ripped. And yeah, so we just used our clues to make an educated guess. So that is a good example of an inference. How do you write your own inference sentence? Well, it comes with the claim and justification. You can put this together as one sentence, but I like to just for this purpose, our purposes here, I'm just putting it as claim and justification. But in reality, it's this whole thing combined as one sentence. So the claim is, I think Lena is feeling blank. This is just an example, by the way. This is just an example of an inference. You just say, I think, and then whatever the inference is. So, I think Sridhar is sad, or I think that the lawnmower is gone. So, basically, you think whatever you think happened. And then the justification for you to make that inference is you say, because the text says. So, you need to draw direct evidence from the text. So, the text could say something like, oh, his backpack was ripped. That's one evidence. Or he didn't have a smile. That's another piece of evidence. So these are just like textual evidences that can lead to our conclusion that he was feeling sad. And then you say, I know. So I know is kind of like your common knowledge. So yes, whatever the text says, like, oh, he didn't smile, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. But in the I know part, you have to explain, well, how does whatever this evidence here, how does this evidence necessarily correlate to whatever my claim is? So, for example, my claim could be Sridhar is feeling sad, and my evidence could be he didn't have a smile. So, well, what would I say then? Then I would say, and I know that people don't smile when they're feeling sad. So that is just like to connect the evidence to the claim. So, example, I think Lena is feeling sad because the text says her backpack was ripped and she didn't smile. I know people can feel sad when something bad happens to them. So that's just basically our Sridhar example. Now, moving on, what is a prediction? A prediction is a smart guess about what will happen in a story. Example, if you see a dark cloud and hear thunder, you might guess it will rain soon, even if the author doesn't say it directly. So basically, inferences are what happened. We're guessing what happened already, whereas in predictions, we're guessing what will happen later. So it's an educated guess based off of clues that we have, but it's for the future. So how do we make predictions? First of all, you look for clues of what's happening in the story, and then you think of what might happen next based off of those clues, and then you make your prediction. And remember, predictions are always based on what we already know from clues in the story. So here's a quick video from the YouTuber Mr. Messenger. So this video is according to the YouTube standard license again, so we have rights to use it in this presentation.
First off, I have to apologize. I'm not going to teach you to predict the future or read people's minds. The goal is to learn how to make predictions as you read. So what is a prediction? A prediction is a guess of what you think will happen in the reading based on what you already know and the clues you see. Making predictions helps students become an active participant in the reading process. Rather than just sit back and listen to the story, you now become a detective and are trying to look for clues to see what will happen next. Once you make a prediction, you are listening to see if you are right. The goal of making predictions is not necessarily to get all the predictions right. Don't worry if you're slightly off or wrong. The goal is to get you to think about what you're reading. You can make predictions before and while you read. I'm going to show you two examples. One using the book The Digger and the Duckling, and the other using our article on great white sharks. Before you read, look at the title and front and back cover. Ask yourself, what do I think will happen in the book? Like a detective, look for clues or evidence as to what you think the book will be about. You can find clues in the words and pictures. For example, when I look at the cover of The Digger and the Duckling, I see a duck and 3 construction machines. Based on the title, The Digger and the Duckling, I think this book will be about the duck and the yellow machine, the digger, since it looks like he's digging dirt. It also looks like this story will take place on a construction site. On the back cover, I see duck prints running all over the machine tracks. So maybe the duckling causes a bit of trouble on the construction site. When you make predictions, you can write them down or keep them in your head. You can also look at the first couple of pages, read about the author, and look at the table of contents, which are the titles of the chapters. And ask yourself the same question: what do I think will happen in the book? For example, when I look at the inside cover of this book, I read this: Digger and the other big trucks love to build. But when a lost duck waddles on the job site, Digger and his friends learn to do more than just scoop and hoist and push. They learn to become family. So let me make this prediction. The duckling is looking for her family, and the trucks will have to learn to take care of her. Again, I'm looking for the clues in the pictures and words. Then, as you read, think about this: is my prediction correct? Also, as you read, when you get to really exciting parts, you can stop and think, what do I think will happen next? To make predictions as you read, think of what's happened so far in the book, what clues you have, and what the characters are like to make your prediction. For example, the duckling has wandered on the construction site, and it seems like the trucks are angry. I predict they want the duckling to leave. Now as I read, I will check to see if I'm right. This is a great way to be involved and an active participant in the reading process. As you read, you're turning into a detective and looking for clues. Now let's practice predictions with this article. But before we move on, if you found any value so far in the video, smash the like button so this video can spread and help more people. Now, back to predictions. We want to read the title, look at the picture, and the mini subtitles. Here is my prediction. I think this article will talk about great white sharks that live off the coast of California. We will learn if there's too many or if they're endangered. Now as I read, I'm looking for clues as a detective. Here is my challenge for you. Find books and articles that you enjoy and interest you. Before you read, I want you to make a prediction. Then, as you go through the book, check to see if you are right. Also, as you read, stop and make predictions. And if you really want to challenge yourself, when you make a prediction, explain why you think you're right. The more you practice this skill, the better reader you'll become. I have a complete workbook in the video description to help you with the process. You can either print out the PDF or make a copy of the Google Slides and type on it. Make sure to smash the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.
Okay, so that video is done. So now you should know how to make a prediction. This is just another example for predictions. So the story title of the story is called Stormy Recess. I just made this quick little story for you guys. So the plot of the story: a boy named Abdul looked out the window. The sky was gray, the wind blew hard, and the leaves flew across the playground. Abdul heard thunder, and the teacher looked outside and said, "Recess is supposed to be in 5 minutes." So right off the bat, I found a bunch of clues for what is going on, and so questions to think about. These are your guiding questions. What do you think will happen next in the story? What clues helped you guess that? And why do you think recess might change? So first of all, what do you think will happen next in the story? Let's look at our clues here. So, one clue is that the sky was gray. Another clue, the wind blew hard and leaves flew across the playground. And another clue is thunder. So, I'm guessing something will happen to recess because if you guys don't know what recess is when you get time to go and play outside in the middle of school for like 30 minutes or so. When you have recess, you usually want it to be in good weather. You don't want to go out when it's raining. So, well, based off of the clues, it seems like there's going to be a storm or rain because the sky was gray and there was a lot of wind and there was thunder. So it seems like a storm is coming. And the teacher says recess is supposed to be in 5 minutes. So supposed to be infers something like maybe is it not going to happen? It's supposed to be then, but is it really going to happen? And based off of the clues, we know that there's going to be a storm. So I'm guessing recess will be canceled. That's my prediction for what's going to happen in the future. So what do you think will happen next in the story? I think recess will be canceled because you can't play in rain. Well, you can, but usually you don't. You can't have recess when there's a storm outside. Basically, what clues helped you guess that? Well, the sky was gray and everything, and there was thunder, and it was very windy, so there was definitely a storm coming. And the teacher looked outside and said, recess is supposed to be in 5 minutes. So basically, everyone realizes that there's a storm approaching, and then the teacher is like, oh, well, recess is supposed to be soon. So that probably, I'm predicting that recess is going to be canceled. Why do you think recess might change? Based off of the clues that we gathered. So yeah, that's it for that. How do you write your prediction? Same thing, it can be made in one sentence, but I just broke it down into claim and justification. So the claim is that I predict that blank will happen. So what is actually going to happen? What is my prediction of what is going to happen in the future? And then the justification is because the text says blank. So what clues did we gather that from? An example is, I predict that recess will be canceled because the sky is gray, the wind is blowing, and there is thunder. So those are your clues. And we're done. So yeah, that was a pretty quick yet informative session. And here's a quick recap. An inference is a smart guess about how someone is feeling or what is happening based on clues what you know. So inferences are made on the present and the past, whereas a prediction is a smart guess about what will happen next based off of clues and what you know. So basically, predictions are for the future. So an inference is a guess for something that is happening or happened, while a prediction is for something that is about to happen, a guess for something that is about to happen. So that's it. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys attending, and also I hope you guys learned a lot. And yeah, I hope you learned and enjoyed this session. Thank you.